You're listening to the Build From Here podcast, a podcast for the hunter and sporting dog enthusiast alike. Join your host, Joshua Parvin, as he interviews retriever owners and discusses the trials and triumphs that lead to a great gun dog. Build From Here is presented by Cornerstone Gundog Academy, online resources to help you train your retriever. Now, your host, Joshua Parvin.
Welcome to the Build From Here podcast. On this episode, I'm really excited to be introducing you to a longtime CGA member. I was looking back today, and Chad Duckworth has been with us since pretty much the beginning, November 7th, which I believe would have been the launch day in November back in the day from Founders Club, Friends and Family. So way back in the day, and he's been with us since then. And this is going to be an amazing story. He's really, even when he first got into Cornerstone, his story turned out to be really amazing on how he was able to take his dog and turn it into something, face some pretty big challenges. But, I haven't gone in depth on the rest of the story, so I'm excited to get to hear that for myself and share that with you. But it's always a great honor to bring people on, especially those that have believed in us from the very beginning. And if you believed in us back in basically when it was day one. So that means so much to have you on here, Chad, and just welcome aboard, Chad. How are you?
Thank you, sir. Good to be with you. It's an honor, man. Honor to have an invite even, so.
Yeah.
Beautiful day here in Missouri, and got to shoot some ducks today and now talk dogs with you, so doesn't get much better.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day, man, and it's an honor to have you on here. And how'd your hunt go? What did y'all did you hunt in a slough, river? What kind of hunting did you do today?
No, yeah, we've got a little local lake. So I don't know if you're familiar with how Missouri works. Most of it's public lands, the WMAs. You have to draw in, and had a late night at work last night and didn't feel like driving that far, so just hit up a little local spot and got lucky they were there.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
You and your current pup. What's your current pup's name?
Winnie.
Winnie?
Oh,
Miss
yep.
Winnie. How did Winnie do?
that's me.
Any big retrieves, simple retrieves? Did you drop them in the decoys?
Most of them were pretty simple, so nothing too difficult. One blind, but it was in the decoys about 40 yards, so not too bad.
Nice. Well, I guess that's a veteran hunter for you. Just drop them
Yeah.
right there, right in front of you. That's awesome.
Some would say I'm just too picky. I let them get too close, and I probably waste a lot of good opportunities. So,
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, Chad, let's go way back. I want to let people know a little more about you kind of before we even dive into the dogs. I want to go back to maybe your hometown where you grew up, and then let's get into how you fell in love with hunting and how that became a part of your life.
okay, yeah. So I'm Chad Duckworth from about an hour south of St. Louis, little town called Hillsboro, Missouri. Growing up, didn't really have a dad that hunted or anything like that, but my parents split when I was pretty young, and when my mom was working, we would go with my grandpa, and he took us trout fishing quite a bit. So that was really my introduction to the outdoors, was fly fishing through Missouri, and grew probably 13, 14. My older brother took me deer hunting for the first time, shot a doe, and I was hooked on deer hunting ever since then. So it was probably mid-20s before I even thought about duck hunting.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah, and my last dog, Moose, is actually what started that craze. So it's not
Awesome.
a huge history on duck hunting, but it's a pretty
Well,
big fire now.
yeah, I bet. And I love the other history too, any outdoor stuff. I mean, we all get to share that. I've been into fly fishing a little bit, haven't done too much. I've been fortunate to fish in the Smoky Mountains a bit. Haven't done any out west. Did you do any big fly fishing trips, or were y'all doing all local? And was it you said it was for trout, so I guess you guys have some trout up that way.
Yeah,
Creeks or lakes, or how does it work up there?
Missouri's kind of weird in that sense too. We have, I think, 4 stocked rivers in
Wow.
Missouri where the MDC goes, and they'll kind of raise them up and release them into these rivers. So I've never gone out west. I really want to. And then, like you said, I know Arkansas has some cool spots, and then the Smokies. So never branched out, but I want to someday.
What was one of your first big memories fly fishing? Anything that stands
So
out? You say it was your granddad that took you on the fly fishing.
yeah, probably my best memory with my grandpa is one of the spots we go to. It's called Bennett Springs, and it's got a little spillway on it. And I can remember being like 10 years old, way too small to be out on that spillway, but he took me out there. I had the waders that were way too big, and he's kind of holding on to my vest, and I just remember fishing there. Probably didn't even catch fish, but just being
Wow,
able to go out where, the grown-ups were was cool.
man, that's pretty cool right there. So fast forwarding a little bit, deer hunting. What? So you said who took you on your first deer hunt? Or you just started going deer hunting? You just were attracted to it.
Yeah, no, my older brother, he's about 15 years older than me.
Oh wow,
So, yeah, he was an adult when he took me, but he took me deer hunting for the first time for youth opener, and I shot a doe that day, and then he bought me my first bow actually and took me to Texas hog hunting, and I was hooked on bow hunting ever since. I'm a huge bow hunter. It's a little
yeah,
bit worse these days because it's hard for me to give up time with the dog. I'd rather go sit with her and shoot some ducks. So, but any
man, I
chance
feel
I
you on
get,
that.
I go out.
Bow hunting is something I want to get more into. I've got a great bow. It's an older bow, Bowtech, but it's yeah, I've only killed one, or I've recovered one deer with a bow. I should say that.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder than it looks. It's quite the challenge.
for sure, man. It's a lot of fun. That's part. It's I kind of relate it to training dogs. It's a lot of work, but that reward is just so cool. And getting a deer in, you know, within that 30-40 yard range, there's no bigger feeling, no crazier adrenaline rush to me. So
I know, man. It gets me every time. I was able to go on a hunt. I guess it was 2 years ago. My wife and I took her bow hunting, and we had a ground blind out. We were fortunate enough. And we didn't. I didn't shoot the deer. I don't know how. I mean, she's cool with all that, but she probably doesn't want to see it happen. It was kind of a smaller buck came out anyway, so we let him go. But he was just out there at like 10 or 12 yards, and we're just sitting there, just sitting all still. I was like, I don't know how he doesn't know we're here. But sure enough, he didn't. He kind of wandered on out there, and it was. But if he was a big buck, I would have definitely shot. I would have
yeah,
definitely shot him in front of her. I would have had to just look. We're gonna have to do this. So,
for sure. I always tell my fiance when we go out, I say I'm going to shoot the first doe that walks up, and it never fails. It's just so cool watching them in their natural habitat, and they have no idea that you're there. It's just pretty surreal, cool to watch.
man,
So
makes me want to get out there this evening. Okay, so where did the whole duck hunting come in? How you said the dog? Maybe so. The dog is what led you to dogs or duck hunting or both?
yeah, so honestly, bought my first house, and I had a in a prior relationship. She had a dog, and she wasn't willing to move into the house without bringing her dog. And I'm like, well, if you're bringing your dog, I'm going to get my own dog. And growing up, I don't remember. I think as a kid, my dad had taken us on like a horseback ride one time, and the people that had the horses had beagles. So for the longest time, I always wanted a beagle, but something I had worked at an outdoor store when we bought that house, and I think there was a flyer up at the front that said lab puppies for sale, and ended up buying the puppy. So it was
Wow.
he was the last one.
Oh, really? Oh man, it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got him as a puppy. So you just decided to get a puppy, and now you're like, now what?
Right, yeah. At that point I'd never duck hunted, never bird hunted outside of dove hunting. Uh, Bought the puppy, started training him, and had every intent on taking him duck hunting, and that was really my intro to the sport.
Wow. I like that. So you're like, I got this dog. I know that it can hunt. It's got the potential. It's a lab. It's going to be able to do the job. So maybe I need to get into it. So what's the story? And his name was Moose, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
What's the story on Moose? Where did you go once you got your puppy? What happened then?
Yeah. So Font Moose was, I guess before that. So I decided I wanted a lab, and I was on a Facebook page called the Sitka Gear Fanatics.
Oh,
Posted
yeah.
on there, posted on there asking about labs and whatnot. And a friend, Ted Wells, I haven't
Mr.
seen him for
Ted.
a long time, but he used to run the page. He made a post similar to, SOK dog or bust, something like that, and introduced me to the Southern Oak Kennel Society. So joined there, bugged Barton probably for months about getting a puppy, and you know how he is with his waiting lists. And like anybody with their first dog, you're not patient. So I bought the first one I found on that flyer at work, and from there we brought him home. Bugged Barton for months on different questions with training, what to do with them, and probably threw way too many marks for him at first, but he was crazy about picking them up, not so crazy about sitting still before it. So
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. You got him fired up. He was all excited. Uh,
yeah,
where did y'all go from there? So you kind of got him fired up with bumpers. You're gung ho. I guess in your mind, you're thinking, how fast can I train this dog so that I can go duck hunting with it?
yeah, exactly. So we're probably a couple months into owning Moose, and there was a gentleman, Cody Belanger. He's out of Louisiana. Used to do a weekly segment. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but I know the dog's name was Jazzy, I believe. And he would bring this puppy in every week, and he would kind of show what he's working on. And from there, I would just do or replicate what training scenarios he would suggest. And probably about 6 months old, took Moose and dropped him off with a trainer down in Mississippi.
Was that kind of
And
always the plan for you, or?
uh, probably, I would say, yeah, just because
Okay.
I had you know, no inclination on what to do with training, and I knew I wanted a gun dog and just didn't know how to do it. So dropped him off there. Uh, you know, I always tell people it's one of the hardest things you'll do is dropping off your dog, and nobody believes it. But I was that guy that, it's a dog, but you drop them off, it's awfully hard to drive away that first time. So,
You're not wrong.
but from there, I think he was with them for a month, maybe 2 months, and just couldn't hold up to the pressure. They were more of an American style training, and he didn't do good with specifically, I think, force fetch was the
Yeah.
problem. So they ended up saying, it's probably best for him to come home. He probably wouldn't be a good gun dog, but he would make a good house pet. And if I wanted, they would sell me another puppy. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
How did that, how
yeah,
was it a phone call? How did that feel? I guess after the fact, you're like, man, my plans are shot.
right. It's pretty brutal hearing that because you get so excited. You have this dog that you're in love with, and all you want to do is go hunt with them. And you're already in this stressful situation where they're away from you. And, a lot of trainers, and you probably know this if you're training dogs, like you can't text them every day and get pictures and get updates like that. So you just spend all this time waiting, hoping for good news. And then when you get news, it's, hey, they're not going to cut it. But
Oh,
thankfully
man.
for me, like in the middle of him being out at the trainer, you guys had released Cornerstone, and I had already bought it, bought in. I was watching all the videos, trying to put a game plan together of, where am I going to start when he comes home. And so it wasn't very long after that I knew we were going to give it a go on our own. So
Nice. So you were kind of determined, like, I mean, because it sounds like before he ever went, like you knew this dog was gung ho about retrieving, like, love to do it. So
yeah,
probably hear that news, you're starting to question, like, well, what on earth happened here?
right. Yeah, very much so. As I knew he had the desire to retrieve. He loved birds. I had shown him, duck wings and stuff like that as a puppy. So I knew he could do it, just didn't know probably how long of a journey it was going to be. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That story is similar to our first dog, except our dog was there for the full time, 5.5 months, and
yeah.
then got it back only to find out that, the dog was messed up with force fetch and just wasn't excited anymore. But like you said, you're typically not going to get a lot of updates when the dog's away, and sometimes no news is good news, and you don't want to be a bother. So when we go get the dog, we waded into it. That's good on the trainer. At least they told you, like, hey, look, you need to come get the dog. That would have been nice if that would have happened to us sooner rather than later. But
For sure.
it didn't. So when you went and picked Moose up, so you had Cornerstone while he was there, so I guess immediately you decided, "Hey, I'm gonna give this a shot myself. Might as well. Got the videos." Tell me what happened next with Mr. Moose.
Yeah. So we got him home, and I think we spent like the next week, we just kind of let him relax and reacclimate to
Smart.
being home. But shortly after that next week, started straight into doing the fetch hold release program. And honestly, he never skipped a beat. Uh, I like it was just so simple. You see all these stories of how hard it is to even get them to take the bumper at first, and we just never experienced that.
Wow.
And you honestly never had a problem with them dropping birds. Just worked through the full fetch hold release program, and once we got through that, man, it was game on.
Wow. Dude, that is awesome. So you probably got him back like, "Man, I don't know what you said about this dog, like, we good." Just picked
Yeah,
up so it was pretty much maybe Moose just missed you. He just wanted to be back with you.
yeah. You hear stories all the time. Some dogs just don't do good in those situations, so that
It's
could be
definitely a
it.
tougher environment too, I'm sure Moose was comfortable in your home, had his own spot and everything, and then it goes off to boot camp basically, has a kennel and is around other dogs, probably barking and all that. So the environment's definitely not the same as being at home.
For sure.
So you jumped in right there, picked up. How did the rest of the training go? What was some of the big highlight moments for you with Moose?
Man, the training went it's at least it felt like it went so easily for us and we breezed through it. But a lot of that was probably me rushing through too, because he was a great gun dog for me. He just wasn't as fine tuned as what you would like to see. More on the steadiness or we you saw him out at some of the SOK summits, like he would whine if he was in big groups, and that would probably be like our major holdback was steadiness and whining. But we worked through the whining, we got rid of that, and then
Wow. Wow. That's great.
his steadiness was always a little iffy. Barton used to give me trouble because we'd always have him on a pinch collar, and he would usually try and break on the first one. He learned he couldn't do that, and then the rest of the hunt, he was good to go. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, well, he just sounds like he was fired up, man. That's a pretty cool story. I'm sorry that happened, but I guess I'm kind of glad it happened at the same time that you got him back and was able to turn him into something. I remember we did a video with you back in the day. Kind of you were one of the first success stories. Hey, we had this dog. The trainer said it's not going to work out. Going to be a pet at best, and transformed from that into a duck hunting dog that you could take hunting with you. So that's how long did you have Moose? How you hunted him for quite a few seasons, if I remember correctly.
yeah, he was 8,
Hey,
and yeah, he ended up having myocardiopathy, I think.
man,
So we were out hunting one day, and it was honestly one of our best hunts ever together.
wow,
We were close to a 4 man of ducks, and then we shot like 6 big honkers, and we don't ever shoot geese. So it's one of our best day together that it ended really poorly. He passed
man.
actually as we were hunting. So
Really? Man, that's tough.
Yeah. But
Th-
he got to go out doing what he loves, so it's hard to be
Yeah,
mad at that.
it's hard to be mad. It's sad, but it's also like, yeah, wow, he did it for you because he loved you and he loved the hunt. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Hey, sis. Sorry, I got a little. The puppy's getting restless.
Well, so you lost Moose at a tragic hunt there, but kind of epically tragic, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, then what happened next? So now you're on to your next dog. Where did you get your next dog? What's the story here?
Yeah. So after Moose passed, took probably 2-3 months off, and didn't know if I was ever gonna get another one, honestly, just because it was, like you said, it was pretty tragic. Just your best bud goes out that way, and didn't know if I could handle that again. But
Yeah,
didn't take long, and I was shooting a message to Barton. It I've known for a long time that that's where the next dog was coming from. So I shot him a message and said, "Hey, no rush, but when you get something, I'm I'm ready." So
wow.
I think I don't know if he had one ready then, but it wasn't long after he shot me a message, and the rest is history. So
Man, that's awesome. What was the kind of the deciding factor for you? I know you said you're kind of up in the air. Do I want to go through this again? I think a lot of people maybe listening to this too have experienced this with their dog. They're dogless right now. They don't know if they want to do it again. Why did you decide, hey, I do need another dog. I'm going to go forward with this.
yeah, for me, man, it's my biggest hobby. I love training the puppies, love bringing them up, probably more so than the hunting part. But for me, I come home from work, and that's the first thing I want to do. That's my release. I relax doing that, and
Wow.
that was probably the biggest deciding factor is just having the camaraderie with the puppy. So
Yeah, the journey is rewarding, man. It really is. And, especially with your story going from the dog that said wouldn't turn out. Now you've got the dog that did turn out. That's a pretty amazing thing when you're able to take a young puppy and then turn it into something. I agree. It's hard to beat that. Um, Man, that's just such a rewarding journey. So with this puppy, you started Cornerstone again, I guess. It's lifetime access. You bought it the best time. Founding
yeah.
club member. Um, how's the journey been thus far? How old is Winnie currently?
Oh, she's right at I think 14, 15 months old. So
Perfect age. Perfect age.
yeah, we picked her up. So I left her with Barton, I think until she was 10 or 11 weeks old. Just didn't want to mess with the crate training and potty training, to be honest.
I understand that.
So uh, had him keep her that for that part. But we picked her up and started right into the 52 plus 2.0 and followed it week by week. Honestly, I knew she wouldn't be ready to hunt that first season, so I took it really slow. My favorite part is gonna be the complete opposite of what most people say, but I love the obedience part of training. So I really dove hard in, the sit and steadiness and all of that, heel. And part of that was fueled by Moose's, you know, not lack, but he just wasn't as tip top in that. And I knew I wanted this puppy to be better. So, and she's so far,
And it's hard to beat that. It
yeah.
what so the big thing. Is it your favorite because that was one of your challenges, or is it your favorite just because you like the connection you're building with a dog?
A lot of it for me is I think you see a lot more light bulbs in that part of the training. It's just, and it probably is only because you see so many of them so quick, but it's so fun to take a young puppy and put them on sit, and I can walk away, and then if they get up, you put them back, and they learn really quick that if I stay here, he's gonna come back, and I'm gonna get the reward, and it's just so cool. You can literally see it click for them, and I love that part.
It's one of my favorites too. For a lot of reasons. I like what it does for you in the future too. That and a lot of people don't realize this, and maybe you were able to see a better picture of it since it was, your second time through. The the stuff you're doing in that section, those light bulb moments you just talked about, you will see the same light bulbs happen later, but on a greater scale because you did the good work in the earlier stage. And for me, I love how, like, it's so crazy how week 3 or week 10 or week 12 will actually directly tie back to week 30, week 46, week 43, somewhere right in there. There's different things that parallel, and there's a direct line and connection that when you bring it back in, it's amazing at, like, how the dog clicks, whether you're doing remote marks, whether you're doing the pull push drill, working on recall, whistle stop, all of that casting. It's amazing how all that ties back in. And it all comes in those first 16, 17 weeks. All that ties and builds really, to me, makes the dog.
For sure. 100%. Yeah, I mean, if you think about a general retrieve and you break it down in the different sections of a retrieve, all it is your basic obedience combined together to a certain extent. So, and it's just cool to break it down. And this this puppy's the complete opposite of Moose so far. She hasn't. I don't think she's ever broken on any retrieve. But I'm probably jinxing myself hugely right now. But she's just polar opposite so far. But when you say her name, man, she goes. She's
Got
a
that
little rocket.
switch. Oh, man, that's what it's about right there.
Yeah, for sure. It makes it
So,
so much more fun. When you watch your dog pick up ducks, it's fun. But when you're the one that releases them to go get it, it heightens that fun so much more for
yeah.
everybody in the blind, because there's just so much control, and I think people like to see that. So
Yeah. It sounds like y'all got a good team dynamic, a good team partnership. So would you say that it was a good thing that so you recognize, hey, we're probably not going to be ready to hunt the dog at this stage. So we're going to take our time going through that. Do you feel that helped you and Winnie a lot?
yeah, for sure. I knew going into it. I told my fiance Caitlin, I said, you know, I don't care if it takes 2 years, but I want this dog to be fully ready to go. I don't want to have the same scenario as with Moose. And she had kind of hunted with him a few times, so she knew his different quirks and she understood. So she's been on board and she helps all the time. She takes her to a weekly training. She got her canine good citizen
I saw that on Facebook.
just
That's so
last
cool.
week. So
Wow.
yeah,
So she's
and
involved in the training as well.
yeah, she likes doing it. She said she wants Winnie to listen to her too. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
That
What
helps out a lot.
what did she what did she think about the whole Cornerstone process? So does she go along in the videos with you and do some of the weeks as well, or how does that dynamic work? Do y'all sit down and do it together? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so my process while going through 52 plus would like the night before I would watch a video, kind of put together my game plan, and then the next day I would work it into my day. I'm
Nice.
lucky I work for Union Pacific as a conductor and pretty low seniority, so I don't have to go in until later in the day generally. And it works out for me because I can train her throughout the day, and then as I go to work, she is usually coming home, and she can pick up, and she probably doesn't go as crazy as I do, but she'll train her a few times throughout the night and get her lined out.
That's pretty cool.
So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool. Y'all just had a recent hunt. What were you able to take your pup with you on on the swan hunts?
yeah, we went out to Utah. It was like a 20-hour drive, and we did
Oh,
it
man.
throughout the night we had 2 dogs. It was brutal, but it was worth it. We we got out there and we went out on the first hunt, the first morning. We both had swan tags and we both shot our swans, so
Really?
it's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Did Winnie pick up the swans? How did that Was she able to go
Yeah,
on the hunt?
yep, yeah, she was out there with us. She went and she drug it back to us.
It's a
When
big
she
bird.
would get it, she got it back to like the dry area and she struggled. She was just kind of dragging it by the neck, but didn't give her too much opportunity to really play with it, honestly. So,
Yeah.
but they're big. I don't know honestly if she'd be able to pick it up or not if she tried.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big bird. I mean, you think about a big goose, those are a challenge. How much does Winnie weigh?
oh, I think she's sitting right at 50 pounds
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
So she's got some
So,
heart in her then. It's like she's got some fire.
yeah, yeah, she's a little ball of fire, man. She's not scared of anything.
Wow.
So,
So going through the course, did you complete the entire course before taking Winnie hunting, or did you get somewhere past that week 36 mark before your guys' first hunt? And what was y'all's first hunt?
yeah, so we made it all the way through the program, but this past, I think, spring, we sent Winnie with Wally for a month. So that helped quite a bit. When we got her back from Wally, she was pretty much all the way through, you know, past week 36 for sure. But we
That's
went
awesome.
back, started about from the time when we sent her off and just trained all the way in through the end of 52 plus. So
Nice.
then,
Nice. You got a little momentum boost, like a steroid shot ready to go.
yeah, it was, I think she was with them for a month or so, month and
Okay.
a half maybe. We I'm a big I like e-collars when we hunt. Just where we hunt, we have a lot of roads that go by and just
Yeah.
gives me
Yeah.
that fail-proof system. So,
Yeah. Those dogs are precious, man. And they're that tension, not to say your dog's not going to listen, but I think having that collar on them in that environment makes, I think I've seen for a lot of handlers, especially in that environment, like you handle the dog different. You're not, if you start to panic, it's funny, you train the dog, and we should talk about this real quick because dogs are very distinct in the way they learn. So your tones, your inflections, when you're training, you're probably laid back, relaxed. If you're in that environment, as long as you maintain that tone, that's great. Your dog's going to listen. But when you start playing in your head, oh my gosh, what if my dog runs over there? And now you start to communicate more frantically than you normally would, your dog stops listening as well because you're not communicating the way you train your dog. You're communicating in a more panicked, frantic voice. And because they're distinct in the way they learn, sometimes they don't listen. So I think sometimes just even having that color on allows you to handle and train the way you normally would, vice versa, if there wasn't any, if there wasn't any danger.
yeah, no, I agree 100%. She's the complete opposite of Moose. Moose with his collar, I used to have to always hold it because I was worried he was going to break. And that was probably my fault because I was always nervous. So he was always high strung.
Yeah,
Whereas
that makes sense.
she's the complete opposite. And we make a effort to make sure that we're not nervous or try not to be nervous with her. So, and she
Well,
does good. She's usually pretty calm. So,
you learn a lot with your first one, and especially, your first one where you're gung-ho and you're rushing through everything to get through it so you can go hunt. And a lot of times that causes some problems. I did a recent Cornerstone Gundog Academy podcast where we talked about this, how to know if your dog's ready to hunt. And you said something earlier, and you said you really wanted to make sure you did it right. You wanted to take your time this time, really take your time with the dog. And a lot of one thing you said, you talked about, hunting moose, maybe some challenges you're creating as you rush through the process. And a lot of people don't think about that. They think, my dog can do the task, right? But it's not just can they do the task. Can they do the task efficiently, effectively every single time? And if they can, that's great. And can they do it under the pressure of the hunt with a gunfire and, the birds coming in and the calling and all this to where, there's a different level of intensity in the air when you're sitting in a duck blind than when you're just training in a field working your dog. So can your dog handle all of that? So it sounds like you did a really good job taking your time to do that. That way, I'm glad you didn't settle right there. A lot of people, maybe you did with the first one, you just got so excited, you push it out maybe a little earlier than it should. And that can create longer term challenges to where, as you said, you're constantly battling that steadiness. Now it sounds like with Miss Winnie, doesn't sound like you're going to have any issues with that. You've got a dog that you can count on in the field because you slowed down, you did it right, and you built the process out the right way.
yeah, For sure. And there's still, we've only, I think the most people we've had in a hunt with her so far is 2 people at once. And
Yeah.
so, as you know, the more people you add, the more guns, it's going to get more high energy, which will probably encourage breaking. But if then, the more people, honestly, I'm the type of guy, I don't care if I shoot a gun a single time in a hunt if I can watch my dog work. So I'm kind of excited for us to get in a bigger group and I can just focus on running her. So, but
I'm sure that'll
she
come
should
up
be able to.
soon as
Yeah.
y'all season just started there recently in Missouri, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. It just opened a couple weeks ago and then
Okay.
we actually had a split. Our split was when we were out in Utah. So
Timed that
it's,
well. That's nice.
yeah, no, I think we're 3 weeks in.
How
So
many birds? And now is this Winnie's first season right now? So this would be her first season.
yeah.
So her first hunt was it opening day? Did y'all go opening day? What was that like?
First hunt, like first official hunt was teal hunting.
Okay, that's
Myself
right. Yeah.
and yeah, me and Caitlin, we took her teal hunting up in northern Missouri. We had one big ball of teal come in. It was probably 20 teal, 10 feet out in front of us, and we both of us unloaded and we shot 3 teal. So
That's pretty good. I mean, when they come in like that I don't know, something about teal just are challenging for me. I don't know. I get so excited because they're just so sporadic until the first shot, then they all go up. So
yeah,
3 fell, then Winnie sat steady, I
yep.
imagine. So did you work Winnie? Did your fiance work Winnie, or how'd that go?
I worked her. And so that hunt was actually good for us because it showed one of our areas we needed to work on. She was so focused on looking at me that she missed 2 of those marks. And so she ended up, we ran them as blinds. They weren't very far away, obviously, but she picked them up, came home, and the next month, one of our main things we would do if I was getting ready to go to work, put her in a blind next to the house, and I would be behind it where she couldn't see me, shoot the launcher off, and she
Nice.
learned to look out ahead of her pretty quick. So,
That's nice.
been
Yeah, that's good that you learned that on that opening morning.
yeah, I was glad we learned it there instead of big ducks. So
What's been
made it.
y'all's greatest moment so far? So this is all relatively new for Winnie. 3 weeks in on hunting. I mean, my gosh, she's getting a lot of experience in the first 3 weeks, going from till, early till. So I guess a little more than 3 weeks when you count that. Maybe you had a couple of weeks there. Then you had 3 weeks of current hunting, and you've also took a big road trip all the way to Utah, and then killed a swan. So, what was the swan the highlight? What's been the highlight moment for Winnie thus far this season?
Oh man, it's pretty early, but so far I would say opening our opening day hunt for big ducks. It was myself and another guy, and we shot a 2-man over. And part of that, we had a lot of teal come in, and we were shooting, 3 and 4 ducks at a time and dropping them, and she was just rock steady, and she marked them. So
Oh
hunting
man,
wise, that's probably my favorite memory so far.
man, that's great. What about training?
Training, uh, when we were in Utah, we went to 4 different national parks, and we would get them out and walk them with us, and just had a ton of people commend us on how good they were. So
Really? Wow.
that would probably be my favorite part. We could
Random?
take
Well, y'all
her
had a group of
take her
people, or just
anywhere.
random strangers just seeing your dog listening well?
Yeah, just random strangers at the park.
Wow.
So that's probably why I like the obedience so much is it's pretty cool taking your dogs out in public and people aren't, used to seeing dogs act that way. So
Yeah.
makes it a
Yeah,
little fun.
man. Yeah, it definitely does. And it's yeah, that's what I always tell a lot of the members, especially as they're coming in, like, hey, one day you're gonna get out there and people are going to see your dog and they're like, hey, who did you send that dog off to? How did you get, who trained your dog? That's a big question, because when you see a dog at that level, you're like, okay, clearly someone that knows what they're doing did it. And then you could tell them, like, hey, I did that myself. And they're like, how? Hey, are you a dog trainer? Like, well, kind of. I train my own dogs. I
Yeah,
always love those conversations, man. It's so cool to see that happen.
for sure. If you have 30 minutes a day and it doesn't, like, we used to do 5-minute sessions of obedience outside. And if you can give 30 minutes a day doing that, you can have one really good dog. So,
Yeah, it doesn't take much. It just hyper focus, doing it right. That goes a long way. What Now with Winnie, completely opposite of Moose, what would you say one of your biggest challenges has been with Winnie thus far that maybe you were able to navigate? Is there any big challenges that y'all faced that y'all been able to navigate through?
yeah, so far, hunting wise, I would say the marking early
Yeah,
on, but it wasn't, it was really only one hunt. And a big part of that, as you know, is they got to learn, they hear the ducks and they got to look for them. And so we haven't had a big, too many hunts yet. So no real pool of experience to kind of have anything go too bad, really.
that's good.
But so, give me 1 second. My other dog here is whining. I'm in a kennel. He's wanting to sit.
No worries.
Yeah. I get a little anxious around this time. It's dinner time. Clown.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Sit. Sorry about that.
No worries. So
But yeah,
no issues on the hunts. What about any challenges in training, or it's been kind of smooth sailing? It's just been a breeze.
early on, I got worried. I know I text you as we were going through some of the fetch hold release stuff. Can you hear me?
I can hear it. Yep.
Oh, sorry. I thought I lost you. Going through the fetch hold release stuff, I got a little worried, but that is kind of what initiated me talking to Wally. And then right before she left, honestly, she started doing a lot better. But uh, other than that, man, it's just the normal stuff. And I was worried. My work schedule's not the greatest and panicked a little bit. But if you stick the course with that 52 plus, man, it's really good. So just gotta have faith, slowly but surely.
Yeah, man. It does take faith. There's days, and it sounds like you've got it figured out as far as the right mentality. Just taking it slow, taking it easy, and not panicking. The worst thing you can do is panic. Yeah, if you panic, you can make some bad decisions. But just realizing that if you trust the process, it's going to work out. I think that's some of the biggest. That's one of the biggest things I would encourage people that are listening to this. Just, hey, trust the process. It's going to work out. I mean, it has for thousands of other people. So odds are,
Right.
the odds are in your favor if you trust the process. The only way they're not in your favor is if you start to veer and start to panic, and then you start making rash decisions that can lead to whatever the result may be. But it's probably not going to be the same result, right? There's a recipe here. If you follow the recipe, it works.
For sure. Yeah. It's it's so easy to get caught up in watching social media posts and you see, like anything else, you only see the success stories on there. And so if you start comparing your story to their story, it can snowball really quick where you start to think you're behind when really you're never behind. You're just where you are. Your story is where it's at. So just take your time, have fun is like the biggest part. Have fun because that's what it's supposed to be, but don't pressure the dog so much because you want to be where someone else is that you skip steps and forget where you're at.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and a lot of people they don't want to talk about the challenges or the problems. We tend to like to do that because that's what people are going to face. Um, and the reality is we want to show that. Now for you, I'm trying to remember back on our message back and forth. So you did run into a little roadblock at fetch, hold, and release. I think a lot of people do that. Um, there's a lot of reasons. Up until this point, a lot of the stuff you can slide by in, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like some sometimes the hill, the place, the recall, a lot of that's supernatural. But when it comes to now we're getting formal, you're going to need to hold on to this, and you're going to need to put it in my hand, and all of those mechanics that go along with it. If there's any barriers there, maybe if there's any timing issues as the trainer on when you're rewarding versus when you're or marking the behavior, that's where I think a lot of that comes in at. What was the challenge? Just share with everybody, with your pup, Winnie there as y'all got the fetch, hold, and release. Were you having trouble getting the initial fetch down, or was it kind of more of just a dropping issue? What kind of challenge were y'all facing? I would love to unpack that a little bit since we're talking about the reality of training. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get to the brutal reality and share with everybody. That's what everybody wants to hear anyways.
For sure, yeah. I think our major holdup was in the first week. We were, I would we had the lane and we would throw the
Mhm.
dummy. She would go out. She sometimes would pick it up and sometimes she wouldn't. And that is really what kind of started to get me in my panic, I guess. But yeah, it was literally, you know, she wouldn't pick it up sometimes. And I was messaging you and Wally both looking for advice. And something in me was like, I have a chance. I was going to go work out of town for a little bit. So I'm like, would you be willing to take her? And he said yes. And by the end of that next week, she was already, I think I sent you a message like she was just doing it perfectly for that stage. And it's like, well, I'm going out of town. Let's see what Wally does. And he honestly, you know, he's so good at what he does. He
Yeah, he
definitely
is. He's a good
probably
dude.
had her far advanced than what I would have been able to, but I think if I would have just been patient and followed that plan, it would have all worked out fine because she was by the end of that second week, she was so good. Like she was already doing what, most dogs will through the fetch hold release. It's just we didn't take time to, work through heel, like you said, or on place and stuff like that. So
Yeah. What do you think the panic was? You're just like worried, I don't want to make a mistake here. Like we've come this far, we've crushed all of this other stuff, and we didn't want to is that it, or was there anything in particular that stood out?
yeah, I think honestly, I just knew my work schedule and I
Okay.
was worried about falling so far behind that she wouldn't be ready for this year.
That
And
makes sense.
yeah, just didn't want to chance that. And
That makes sense.
I knew we wanted to have her trained with an e-collar or trained to use an e-collar, and I'm not brave enough to do that. So I knew we had to send her off anyway.
Oh,
So I
so
kind of
just 2 for 1
justified
right
it.
there. Worked out. That's nice.
Yeah. That's how I justified it was, I'm gonna have someone do that anyway. I might as well have them, same way as, the crate training and potty training. Have, poor Barton and Wally handle all the
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I think I hope that encourages a lot of people that are listening to this. As there's times where we're going to face those challenges, or whatever it may be, and sometimes it's external, like you were saying. It happens to be, hey, my work schedule is going to get crazy. Sometimes it's internal, like, I don't know if I got what it takes through this part of it, but whatever it is, like you said, if you trust the process, you end up getting there. And it sounds like Winnie was able to straighten it out, and then it all worked out in the end for you, anyways. Um, Once you got her back, as y'all are going through, was there any like standout moments? Do you think just overall the process was easier with Winnie because you kind of nailed that foundation, um, versus like Moose? kind of always wanting to break. I know that hinders some of the training as you go forward because if you're having to constantly, no, don't break, then it's kind of sometimes getting in the way of some of the other stuff you're doing. But was there any like standout highlight moments through training through the rest of the 52 plus that stood out to you as like, oh man, this is cool. Like maybe you did something that you hadn't done before with Mr. Moose.
Yeah, man. So her blind work is really good. So we struggled for a little bit on blinds. If I don't know what you call it, but she didn't want to look straight ahead. And so
Yeah.
we started doing the 3-point drill. And once it clicked to her, I just put the white poles out and she learned to look straight ahead. And just watching how hard she would take off, that was kind of the moment where I knew that she was going to be pretty good because once she locks in and she takes off, she's got a lot of go and she goes pretty hard. So I just knew at that moment, like, she could be the worst marker in the world, but if I know where the duck went, she's gonna take off in that direction, so
Oh, that's awesome. Man, sounds like you've got a really good dog. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll get to see this dog in person, maybe at Summit or Member Week or something like that. Or if you guys with y'all's chapter up there, if y'all pull off, get an event going, maybe I'll run up there and see what's going on. I look forward to seeing you guys work in person.
yeah,
Sounds like you'll get a good dog.
yeah.
How's the chapter experience been for you thus far? I know y'all have done a couple of, if I remember correctly, a couple of live meetings.
Yeah, so we did it kinda backwards. Our first we had a get-together, so it was me, Zach, Sandknop,
Oh, so y'all have done an in-person meetup already.
yeah,
Nice, nice.
and then, Ryan, his last name's I'm forgetting it right now, but he's got an SOK dog. And we all got together. We went to Bush Wildlife. It's a kind of a well-known dog training area up in St. Louis, and we got together and did some drills together, and it's been pretty cool. I struggled for a long time with Moose. I drove down to Mississippi so many times because I wanted to get a group training session in with them, because that's really where all of our downfalls would kind of start showing. Uh, I could train him at home and he would be steady, quiet, but you put him with 20 other dogs and that's where he can really start to showcase his, flaws. So
Yeah. Reveals it very quickly.
I tried for a long time and the only groups really up here that get together are kind of HRC based and it's just not really what I wanted. I want to have all the dogs out at the same time. We're all running the same thing. Just make the dogs kind of sit and watch. And so getting the chapter finally gives me something in this area where that's going to be, we're not getting together to do HRC stuff. We're kind of working on CGA stuff, and that's what I want to do. So it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Zach's really cool. He's really knowledgeable. So it's really cool to get together with him and, we put together different stuff that one training day and he had a lot of cool ideas. So it's always good to get out and have a fresh sense of something to work on.
Oh yeah, man. I love Zach. I remember it wasn't the first member weekend, but whenever it was one of his first member weekends, him and Ted was a little pup at the time, wasn't even into gun dog stuff yet.
Yeah.
I think he, was barely doing like some of the obedience. And I remember he just came up and Zach was intense. He's like, I've got these, what do I do here? What do I do here? And then by the next member weekend, he came back and he had implemented all that and had finished out the course, and Ted just turned into a beast of a dog.
Yeah. Caitlin loved Ted. She went with me that day. We had the train day and she was in love with him. He was a really cool dog. He is really obedient too. So
That's the mark of a Cornerstone dog. You got to have that obedience. That's what we're
right.
after. And nothing else matters if your dog if your dog's not going to be obedient. If your dog can do a 200-yard retrieve, that's great. But can your dog be obedient around family members and in the house and all that? That's what to me matters the most. And it seems what I have found is that people that get that right the whole 200-yard stuff takes care of itself. It becomes easy versus more of a challenge. If, like you said, if you break down the retrieve, it's all going to be an obedience thing to some degree anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you guys looking forward to as y'all's next step on season? Kind of this being your second dog, you've gone through the program twice, or you went through the original Cornerstone, and now you've gone through the 52, the step-by-step courses. What are you thinking through as you're going on hunts? Is your main task right now preserving the foundation and the training you've built through the hunt? Let's for newbies out there, people that are just thinking or getting ready to hunt their dogs, let's share some advice. I know you've got some good tips on that. What are your focus points when you're out there hunting?
Yeah. Biggest piece of advice, set some goals. Have a foundation of what you want to accomplish for the season. And for me, this season was steadiness is at the top, 100%. I'm not going to let her get away with it. She hasn't challenged it yet, but I want to maintain that steadiness. It's so key to the safety of the dog. It's so much more fun, and I'm just not willing to negotiate on that one with her. So that was my number one goal. On top of that, I think I'd have to look back. I think I said 100 retrieves was my goal for the year. If we don't get that, we don't get it. But I just want to put her on birds more than anything, so she can kind of learn that game. And then I think one of my other goals, I wanna get at least one hunt where there's another dog and
Oh
have
yeah.
that. So, but that's it's a pretty short goal list for me this year, but really just honing in on the steadiness part.
I like it, man. Yeah, having those goals, having something to shoot for keeps you on track, and it keeps you honest, keeps you honest with your dog. If you don't have goals, you're just going to settle for whatever happens.
For sure.
But creating those goals helps you get to where you need to go with the dog, for sure.
Yeah. And I had known that from Moose was you get on that slippery slope of, well, he broke, but he brought the duck back, and before you know it, they do it once, they'll do it for the rest of their life if they want. So
Yeah. Yeah, if you can mitigate that from the very first time and basically preemptively prevent that, especially in their first season, oh man, that helps a lot. A lot of people, you just want to be on top of the problem as it happens or before it happens. If you can do that, you're going to get much better results as far as not having to work through a challenge. Doesn't mean you can't work through it, but it sounds like you're doing everything right. You're very much on top of it. You're preventing some of these challenges from arising so that by the next couple of seasons, your first season's a training season anyways, these next couple of seasons after this, you're going to have a dog that just works like a machine, and it's just going to be one after another, just the way it's supposed to be. So good on you, man, for putting in the work the right way.
yeah, no, hey, it was made easy through your program. It's almost foolproof. There's obviously you can obviously do stuff to hinder the program, but if you just stay calm and follow that outline, it's really tough to go wrong. So
I agree with that, man. Well, is there, where I can't even believe it. I just looked at the time. We're coming up on time here. Maybe we should do a postseason Winnie update. Did we achieve those goals? That would be a fun little episode to do. Maybe we should
yeah,
do that. We'll try to set that up. But as we kind of wrap up here, and is there any last things that you would like to share with anybody? Maybe a piece of advice you would wish someone would have shared with you, or just whatever's on your mind here.
yeah, I would say don't get caught up in being so perfect that you forget to have fun with your dog, because one day that dog's not going to be with you anymore, and all you're going to have is your memories with them. So make sure you have fun. Stay the course. You've got plenty of time. They'll get there eventually. So That's my one takeaway from everything. Just have fun.
That's good, man. I like it. I wouldn't change a thing you said about that. And man, it's been an honor to have you on, and just thank you for staying with us and supporting us, right? You stayed true with Cornerstone since the beginning, and that's saying something, that you've stuck around with us this long, and that just means a lot. And we're glad you're here, and glad you're working with Winnie, and excited for yours and Winnie's and your fiance's adventures moving forward. Can't wait to see how things continue to go.
Yeah, like I said, the honor's all mine. There's not a better group of people out there than the CGA family, so wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Appreciate everything you guys have done for us through both dogs. So you guys were there for some really tough times through Moose, so appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Build From Here podcast. To learn more about retriever training or our podcast, visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com/podcast.